Hello again everyone, nice to see you again. Well, of course I can't really see you, but I can always imagine what you look like. So, what are we going to talk about today? I have prepared for you a very delicious selection of peculiarities and glitches in the classic Doom engine. I wouldn't like to keep you hungry, so let's take a look at the menu. It looks really nice. We're going to start with a fun experiment related to the loading order of IWADs in Vanilla Doom. Then we'll take a slight break with some small, harmless engine glitches, which are still fun to look at, I suppose. Then we'll look at this really weird phenomenon known as difficulty 0, or at least that's what I call it. And we'll finish up with a bit of a bug related to the icon of sin and its spawning cubes. So, IWAD loading priority. What could this be? Here is a question to consider. What would happen if you have multiple IWADs in your Doom folder? With modern source ports this isn't much of a problem. GZ Doom, for example, displays a window where you can choose which IWAD to load. Pretty convenient. But what about Vanilla Doom? If you've played Vanilla Doom, you've probably noticed that all the IWADs are kept separate. So if you install all the classic Doom games, you'll basically have 4 separate installations: Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, TNT, and Plutonia. And yes, TNT and Plutonia are kept separate even though they are part of the same package, Final Doom. But what would happen if you mix these IWADs? Like, for example, if you put Doom 1 and Doom 2 together, or if you put TNT and Plutonia together, what would happen when you start the game? Now, the vanilla engine obviously cannot load more than one IWAD. It would have to choose one and stick with it. But how does this happen? How does the game choose which IWAD to load? That's what we're going to look at today. We're going to place all of the IWADs in the same folder. Let me show you. Here's my little experimental setup. It's an installation of Final Doom, more specifically the updated version, which appeared for the first time in some copies of the IDWAD anthology. And as you can see, I have placed all of the IWADs in the same place. We have the Ultimate Doom from May 25th, 1995, Doom 2 version 1.9 from February 1st, 95, the updated Plutonia from November 21st, 96, and updated TNT from November 14th, 96. So when we start the game from the Doom 2 executable, because the final Doom executable is called Doom 2 as well, which is not surprising since it's basically a modified Doom 2 exe, the main modification of course being the ability to recognize TNT and Plutonia as legitimate IWADs. So when we start the executable, it will have to choose one of these 4 and load it. So one of these IWADs would have priority over the rest. How does this work? Well, the executable searches for a suitable IWAD, and this search is done in a specific order. First it checks for one specific WAD file. If it's found, it loads it. If it's not found, it checks for the second one, then the third, and finally the fourth. Failure to find an IWAD will result in failure to start the game, obviously. So, perhaps we can start the experiment. Alright, as usual, we will jump in DOSBox. Then we'll go to the folder where the experimental setup is located, which is called mess. Okay, let's make a quick check. Okay, as we can see, we have all 4 IWADs. Now the question is, which one of those is on top of the list for the algorithm? Well, we're going to find out in less than a minute. If you wish, I can give you a few seconds for you to make your guess what's going to happen. Time's up. I hope you've made your guesses, because now we're going to find out the truth. 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at that! It's Doom 2. Doom 2 Hell on Earth is on top of the checklist. So when you have all of the IWADs in the same folder, Doom 2 is what is going to start up. Which isn't surprising. Like I said, the executable is based on Doom 2. I chose this executable because it's the latest as long as vanilla Doom is concerned. It has support for all the IWADs. But at its heart it's still Doom 2, and here we see the proof. Okay, let's continue. Now what we're going to do is delete the Doom 2 WAD. Okay, so now we have only 3 left: Doom, Plutonia and TNT. So which one is going to be loaded next? Maybe the original Doom? Maybe one of the other 2? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1. Plutonia. Plutonia is second on the checklist of the algorithm. Indeed it is. And of course it wouldn't be Plutonia without a chain gunner. Okay, in this situation it should be pretty obvious which WAD is going to be next, right? Let's check. And indeed, as I suspected, I'm TNT. I'm dynamite. TNT is next. And finally, when we also remove TNT, finally Doom 1 or Ultimate Doom can be loaded, because it appears to be at the bottom of the checklist. Well, that's a little sad, to be honest, that original Doom is at the bottom. But like I said, it's a Doom 2 executable, so it really isn't all that surprising. And just to put a cherry on top of the cake, let's also remove the last IWAD and try to start the game without any WADs available. And as you can see, we immediately get an error message: game mode indeterminate. Unable to find an IWAD, the engine doesn't know in what game mode to switch, and that's why it fails so quickly, like before even the startup screen shows up. So that concludes our experiment. And here are the results summarized. So when we have all IWADs in the same place, Doom 2 has the highest priority and will always be loaded first, ignoring the other 3. And if Doom 2 is missing, the IWAD that's going to be loaded is Plutonia, then TNT, and finally Doom 1 or the Ultimate Doom. And to answer the questions I asked earlier, if you put Doom 1 and Doom 2 in the same place, Doom 2 will be loaded. And if you put TNT and Plutonia in the same place, Plutonia will be loaded. And that's why the normal DOS installations always have just one WAD file in a folder to avoid this sort of confusion. Alright, before we move on to the main course, I'm going to show you 2 slight glitches which are nothing serious, but I think they are interesting in their own weird way. I'm going to use Doom 2 to demonstrate them, although you can use any Doom game you wish, it doesn't really matter. Well, let's go here on this nice balcony. So first we're going to look at the sound controls. You know, we have sound volume and music volume. Now, do you notice when I move the selection skull, it's always positioned by the title of the slider, but not by the slider itself. It can either be facing SFX volume or music volume. It never goes near the actual sliders. Unless... Hey, what did I do? Hey, stop it! What are you doing? Well, the answer to this mystery is pretty obvious if you look at the top of the screen. See the big word pause that appears? Yes, I'm pressing the pause button. When you press the pause button, the selection skull moves to the location of the actual sliders, though you can't move them. You can only move them when the skull is facing the titles. Why does this happen like this? I don't remember the exact explanation. You can see it on the Doom wiki, but it has something to do with the pause key and the non-existent hotkey for these sliders being the same from the point of view of the game engine. Well, basically the sound sliders are not supposed to have a hotkey, so it's null. But then the pause key somehow is null as well, and that's why, because of this coincidence, this happens. If you want to see a more proper explanation, check the Doom wiki. Now the other glitch, well, it will be better visible if I go outside. The other glitch happens when you use the level warp cheat while the menu is opened. How you do this? Well, first you type idclev, then you press escape, and then you type the number of the level you want to jump to. Okay, let's give it a try, but which level? You know, maybe 32, because it starts in a room with really clearly visible red walls. So we type idclev, escape, 32. Oh, look at this glitch. So basically the upper half of the screen was updated, but the lower was not, so I can still see the sky of map 1, but on the upper half I can see the red hallway of map 32. And there's this really awkward berserk park just standing there in the middle of the screen. To fix this glitch, just press escape, and it's fixed. Yeah, it's nothing really serious, but I think it can be fun in its own weird way. Now, I mentioned we're going to talk about something called difficulty 0, and I think it's time. As you probably know, all Doom games have command line parameters. For example, the warp parameter can be used to jump to a specific level, for example 18. And then you can use the skill parameter to select a difficulty level. For example, skill 4 should set ultraviolence. So here we are on map 18, and it should be on ultraviolence. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, judging by the number of monsters, it should be it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of games had command line parameters like this, like Duke 3D had them too. That was one way to access the hidden maps in episode 1. But here's the interesting thing. What would happen, like, let's go to level 1. What would happen if you type skill 0? Is there a difficulty 0? Let's find out. Hey, weren't there supposed to be 2 zombie guys here? Weird. Let's go get the chainsaw. Missing zombies, missing chainsaw. I don't like the looks of this. Something really creepy is going on here. Where is everyone? And where are all the items? Ooh, spooky. That reminds me of liminal spaces, you know. Places that are supposed to be populated but are abandoned, and it creates this really creepy feeling when you see them. No rocket launcher either. Oh, it's like everybody just packed and left. You know, it's like Doom abandoned 10 years ago. Well, hopefully things will be better on the next level, and no, they are not. Everybody is gone, you know? It's like that Alice Cooper song where the guy's on the playground but everybody left years ago. Ooh. Oh, and the key is missing too, and guess what? The teleporter doesn't work because the teleport destination is missing. It's an object placed in the map. And since there is no key, you can't even beat the level. Wow. You know, difficulty 0 might turn out to be the hardest difficulty of the game. Let's check map 7. That's simple. And on difficulty 0 it's really simple since there is nobody here. And without Mancubi these walls cannot open. And without Arachnotrons the step that lets you reach the exit will not rise. Now, of course, there is a trick where you can reach the exit with a well-executed rocket jump, but guess what? There is no rocket launcher on this map anymore. So I'm really stuck here. Damn, what about map 32? If the commander keys are gone, then the exit shouldn't be able to open. Man, this is so creepy. Yep, liminal spaces. And indeed, the keys are not here. I guess the only thing we could do is go to map 30, where we are greeted with this very empty room and broken teleporter. Could the icon of sin work? No. The enemy spawner doesn't work either. Well, at least maybe Romero's head is still in there. Nope, not even Romero's head. Even John Romero is not immune to the effects of difficulty 0. Well, I guess the only thing I could do now is to just assume Romero's place here and enjoy Doom from the point of view of Romero's head. Wow, it looks so exciting. Oh, and this trick works with Doom 1 as well, or Ultimate Doom. So, for example, if we start on E1M1 on skill 0. Yep. Oh, look, even the metal pillars are missing. It's like someone came in and robbed the place clean. Oh, man. Oh, this looks so weird. So if we go to E1M8, we find ourselves in a really spooky Phobos anomaly, which is completely abandoned. It's like even the demons don't care anymore. And as you can guess, there's nobody home here. No barons, which means the walls cannot lower. But even if you could get outside, the teleporter wouldn't work, so it's quite pointless. Well, that's the real horror of difficulty 0, the feeling of hopelessness, pointlessness that it creates. E2M8. You can already guess. Nobody home. Absolutely nobody. E3M8. Nope. Nobody home. So I guess we're stuck in hell forever. And of course there's the situation on E4M8 as well. You can probably imagine. So yeah, that's difficulty 0, and it's really easy to trigger this glitch. You just have to start the game with the skill 0 command line parameter, but make sure you also select a level. Because if you start a new game, difficulty 0 will be overridden. So always use the warp parameter as well. Alright, time for dessert. I promised you a glitch related to the icon of sin. And more specifically, it's related to saving and loading your game during the actual battle. So let's jump to map 30, just in case we'll put on some IDDQD. Because something can always go wrong in a game like Doom. So we start the battle. And the spawn cubes start launching, as is traditional. Oh, hello there. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. So wait for a spawning cube to launch, and then save your game. Okay, we saved our game. So what would happen if we load it? Nothing unusual. Loading a saved game in map 30 doesn't cause anything bad to happen. But what if we exit the game, then start it again, and then load the saved game that I made? What could possibly go wrong? Up, there it is. So what happened is that the target coordinates for the spawning cubes were not loaded properly. You see, when you enter the map normally, like when you exit map 29 or when you use the level warp cheat, all the targets for the spawning cubes are initialized. However, due to an oversight in the Doom engine, when you load a saved game, especially after you have exited the game and restarted it, the targets for the spawning cubes are not initialized. They're effectively missing altogether. And that's why when the spawning cube reaches its destination, there is no destination. And so the game engine has a seizure, which you can see here. And this is actually called a Venetian blind crash, because it kinda looks like one. And in my video about cursed doors, I actually said that you cannot recover from this crash and would have to shut down DOSBox, or if you're playing on a real DOS computer, you'd have to restart. But it turns out this isn't true. You can actually recover pretty easily. You can clear the screen by typing CLS, and then you can restart the game with no problem. Though of course if you attempt to load your game again, the same thing will happen. Yep. Oh god. Wait. Shut up. Well, anyway, that's all for today. Not a very long video, but my free time is a bit limited today, so that's all I can do. And for next time, I'd really like to do a historical video. I can mention it in my Doom 3 anniversary thing. It's going to be about one of the earliest teams of Doom map makers. A team that not only made maps, but also introduced custom textures, custom monsters, custom weapons. And nowadays this doesn't seem like a big deal, but back in 94 and 95, oh, this was a big deal. So while these guys haven't been active in a long time, they definitely left a mark in Doom history, and I think it deserves some recognition. So that's what we're going to talk about next time. It will require a bit more time to make this video properly, but I'm sure I can pull it off. Well guys, that's for now. I hope you enjoyed today's little experiments and strange showcases. And see you next time. Goodbye for now, and keep dooming.